I don't believe we have any additional that have joined us for introductions again, so we will go ahead and jump right into our second program this morning in our Success Factor series. This program is called Elevate Success. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Michael Maroon, who will be sharing strategic planning and writing a 3-year rolling strategic plan. Do you have a strategic plan for your business? Do you have a 3-year strategic plan for your business? Michael's going to share the specifics with us on that today. Michael Maroon is partner and co-founder at Silvertree Wealth Partners, a full-service boutique wealth management firm that serves individuals and businesses in managing their wealth through its affiliation with Raymond James Financial Services. Silvertree deploys advanced wealth strategies that go beyond just managing client investments by focusing on tax mitigation, asset protection, estate preservation, and charitable gifting strategies. Silvertree Wealth Partners was formed in 2021 by 4 partners with a vision. Through that strategic vision, Silvertree has turned into a financial powerhouse that manages over $1.4 billion of client assets across over 2,500 relationships with 14 offices across 5 states. Silvertree Wealth Partners has very quickly grown to be the 19th largest branch based off of revenue within the Raymond James Financial Services Company, and they are just getting started. Please help me welcome Michael Maroon.
Nobody gets to write your own bio and get to make yourself sound so great. First off, you get this out of the way. I sound raspy. I'm not spreading any germs. I got the flu about 2 weeks ago, and this is how long it sticks around. So, wish I'd gotten my flu shot. Here's your PSA. Flu shot. I wanted to get real practical today. I handed you all what we use. And a little background of me, prior to Silvertree, I was with Edward Jones, and I was a performance leader for the region. So I oversaw about 50 or so advisors, and it was my job to make sure that they were growing, that they were getting where they needed to go. So accountability, coming up with plans, holding people accountable to those plans has been in my DNA for a long time. I also want to say that I have stolen everything when it comes to accountability and strategic planning. Okay? None of this is any of my original idea. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. I've been working with a business coach for almost a decade, the same person. She's a very tolerant lady. And she put me on to EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System. You're nodding your head. There's a wonderful book out there. It's maybe 5 years out. They've been working with this model for a while. It's called Traction. And they will spell out how to go through this process. And whether you're a sole proprietor or you have a team, it's a worthwhile book to pick up. It's a worthwhile process to go through. You can read the book and go deeper. Quite frankly, I'm probably going to give you most of what you need to know to just take this and implement it. And there's Traction by EOS. There's also a great website. That's EOSWorldwide. And if you are willing to give them your email address, you can download a whole host of tools, kits, to make sure that you can do this day in and day out, every year, and get yourself really nicely organized when it comes to strategic planning. So, Joanne, I loved your analogy of going on a hike, right? I would say this is about finding a mountain. Right? And you got to know where you want to go. You got to have a vision. You got to have that spelled out well. But to get there, it's all adage. How do you eat an elephant? How do you climb a mountain? One bite at a time or one step at a time, one rock at a time. This is all really about reverse engineering. That's all this is. Whenever you have a strategic plan, you just got to reverse engineer it to make sure you can get to where you want to go. It's as simple as that. Not really, though, because you need to hold yourself accountable. And you need to have a plan that you're holding yourself accountable to. That's where this comes into play. So a lot of us, we come up with these ideas, these dreams, these visions. I want to lose 15 pounds in January, but we don't work out a plan on how to do that. And by the time we signed up for the gym membership in January, and we're going every day. Come March, we find that we haven't gone in weeks. And it's because we weren't holding ourselves accountable to a plan that we wrote down, and we didn't have outside accountability to also check in with us to make sure we're getting that done. Okay? It's not through lack of vision. It's not through lack of an idea, but it's just through lack of accountability, writing it down and holding yourself to that. That's what the VTO is all about. So when I say VTO, I'm talking about that vision, traction, organizer sheet that I gave you all. I put some extras in the middle. I printed out 30. Good news is you can scratch one up, and then you can take another one, bring that home, and make that your clean version. You can also download this off of the EOSWorldwide website for free by just plugging in your email address. So don't be afraid to take notes on one. You know, some people are perfectionists. They want to make sure everything's nice and tidy. Make one look terrible, then grab another one. Okay. But this is what we use. So I imagine, does anyone already use VTO? Okay, good. This is about as in-depth as you need to go to have a good strategic 3-year rolling plan. I'm going to walk you through this, and we're just going to get real practical. Okay. Good news is you've already gone through a process to understand some of your core values. But what is your business value? What are the things that you want people to understand about you, and does that play into the way you're conducting your business? I'm going to gloss over that for a minute, and then you get into your core focus. And I put on the screen. I gave you an example. This is this is last year's. I don't know if I have partner permission to share this year, so I figured it's no harm, no foul sharing last year. You see our core values. You know, and I should mention, I have my own practice. I manage 100 or so clients. This whole enterprise of all these other advisors that we work with, it's kind of our side hustle. It's quickly turning into not such a side hustle. But this is for that side hustle, okay, not for my own personal business. As the side hustle, Silver True Wealth Partners, it's really about us bringing in other advisors and bringing them into our network, providing them support and collaboration, making sure that they can be the best advisor they can be. We're often pulling them from a different firm when they come over to Silver Tree and James. So we're providing the support mechanism and apparatus to make sure that their transition is a successful one and that they get up to speed and get to new heights as quickly as possible. Okay. We obviously have some skin in the game because we make a clip off of them for their success. So it's mutually beneficial for that region. For us, we want to maintain balance in our own personal lives and make sure that we're also creating an apparatus that helps our advisors have balance in their lives as well. We care. We want our advisors to know that we do deeply care about them and their clients and their success across everything that they do. We are very collaborative. We have a lot of opportunities in what we do to make sure that we're connecting with each other. We are big at innovation. We're not afraid to take risks and try new things. And then we have a very strong passion to make a difference in our clients' lives. The cool thing about our industry is it's not about my purpose. It's about helping clients find what their purpose is and then aligning their wealth with their purpose. That's kind of fun that we get to, almost play coach to help people really hone in on what their purpose is and make sure their money is aligned with that. At any rate, our core focus, so we're on a mission to partner with select advisors to achieve their vision for the business and their life. And our niche is a bit more specific. We're working with value-aligned advisors, so advisors that also appreciate our core values, and teams that have at least $500,000 in revenue production. 5 years of experience, so that we don't necessarily have to teach people how to be an advisor, right? And they're mainstream, meaning they're using products that aren't a little wacky, and fee-based, U.S.-based, and in high net worth markets. That's who we are. That's who we want our advisors to be. We know who we are. We know who we're not. All right. Now we do this. We'll get into this in a second. Our 10-year target is very specific. We want to be at $50 billion in assets under care in 10 years. Right? Pretty lofty goals. Actually, crazy lofty. But we think we can do it.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Say that again. You said that. You said assets under care. And that is so much better than assets under care.
Well, it's part of our value line. We care. Yes, assets under care. We're custodians. It's not our money. We're here to care for and be good stewards of that money for our client's purpose. So, yeah, it's very intentional language. Now we have our marketing strategy and how we go after our advisors. We have a 3-year picture too, okay? And this is really something that's a bit more tangible. Now, what's fun about this exercise, I'll zoom in on it, some of it gets a little bit embarrassing to show. It's like, it's almost like, what if you were the guy on Billions and you kind of had that, blah, blah, money, right? Like, what would you want your life to look like, and how would that play out? And, it's getting specific. So the idea here is you start to visualize, if you can get there, what is that going to look like for you? And so that as you're moving in that direction. So some of that's fun. An idea of how many advisors we'll have. We want to have our own app. Annual firm trips for all of our advisors. A suite at the Phoenix Suns, suite at the Waste Management Open. We'll be in 10 states. So it gets specific. We have a charitable wing where we're giving back to our community. We're on the Barron's list. So it gets, when I actually believe it, a couple of hobbies I was kind of embarrassed to put them out there for too long. You don't get to see those ones. But it's, and for us, it's more moving into more of a board of director role, and we have an executive team running this all over. Okay. But it's very specific. If you can get to that 3-year place, what will it look like? And do you want to get there? Build something that you want to be at, where you can have some benefits to reaching to that. It's almost like the view, right? See that rock structure that you wanted to see. Like, I have an idea of what I want it to look like when I get to that peak, and spell it out. So this is all about who we are, where we're going to go, and some metrics there. The next page is where you get to the peak. Now, again, you're reverse engineering. We have this 10-year plan. I don't know what that's going to look like. We'll get there 7 years from now. We'll start spelling out those things. But to get there, we're going to have to accomplish our 1-year plan. We're going to have to accomplish our 3-year plan. And then we're also going to have to accomplish our rocks. What are our rocks? Those are quarterly tasks that we know we need to accomplish to be able to accomplish our 1-year plan. If we're going to get to 3.5 billion under care, all right, we need to make sure that these quarterly rocks are going to get accomplished, right? So this is all about breaking down and reverse engineering it. So now when you get into the rocks, then you're going to break it down to tactics. So I'm going to and let me spend a minute on this, right? I mean, you're doing some math. I don't know if we're going to get to 3.5. We hope, we expect, but it's a target. And it's a target that's linear to getting to our 3-year goal, which is linear to getting to our 5-year goal, based off some projections. You got to get a little creative on how you're going to project your numbers, your client base, whether you want to expand here and there, whatever, right? You need to do some projections. To be honest, I'm really not all that concerned if I specifically crest 3.5. It is a point in the distance that I need to keep my eye on. And if I'm focusing on that point, there's a theory called expansion theory, that which you focus on expands. Right? If I'm a negative Nancy and I focus on the problems expand. If I see this productive goal in front of me and we keep our eye on that, my path will expand in that direction and we'll get in the ballpark. We may surpass it, okay? But as long as we keep our focus there, that's where we're going to be moving. And I'm all about forward motion, right? Whether, in football, if you get a couple of yards, it's forward motion, right? That much closer to getting a first down. Whether it's a 1 yard or 3 yard or 5 yard gain, there's forward motion, you're making progress on the field, right? So I'm not so concerned whether we get there or not. I am, but I just want to get in the ballpark. On the rocks, breaking it down further. So our goals for the year, creating a team-based service model. That's all about creating things more efficiently in our office so we can have more capacity to spend more time on the recruiting aspect. Onboarding 20 new advisors. And then having 100% retention and 5 referrals from affiliates. So we have affiliate firms. It's not just Silver True Wealth Partners. We've got Will Be Wealth out in Alaska and Diamond Oak in California. So these are affiliates. We want them to also continue to refer advisors to us through the people that they know, right? And so now it's breaking down on the Rock side. We need to choose and engage with a consulting partner. We want to do a Recruit the Recruiters event. Recruit the Recruiters, what's that? Raymond James has recruiters, and we want them to know how amazing we are, and how if they partner with us and they send an advisor to us, we will help them pull that advisor from whatever firm they're at right now, because they'll be so impressed with the support system that we have that they look at us as an ally, right? And so we want to be on the recruiter's radar at Raymond James to make sure that they know, wow, these people would be amazing partners with us, and they'll do a lot of our work for them. And hopefully, we get another backdoor way to get some additional advisors. And then branding, videos, and content. We need to boost our online footprint. For some reason, my industry is like still back in the Stone Age when it comes to marketing. So we need to modernize how we market utilizing social media. Issues. As you know, we didn't spend too much on this. We do have some we keep elsewhere, but these would be hurdles. What do you expect to run into? Okay, and what are some potential threats that could impede your forward progress? It might be the economy. It might be some regulatory issues that we're dealing with that we just needs to be on our radar. We need to have in our back mind of some ways to get around that hurdle or over that hurdle if it ends up popping up. Okay? So, does all make sense so far? Any questions? It's so easy, isn't it? I mean, it's just like, this is such an easy process. EOS makes millions and millions and millions of dollars off of just organizing what we already know. But it's in a nice 2-page, one sheet paper. So, all right, then it's a matter of keeping score. So I'm going to pivot to our scorecard. This is an outdated one. Again, I don't know if I want to show you our up-to-date one here, but just showing you our previous quarter. What's that? No. This is good enough. This previous quarter. So this is one where we're really tracking, where we're at on our assets. Our total revenue, what our total revenue goal is. So you see our goals over here on the left. You see our actuals, we also have, we believe in a carrot and stick mentality. So I've got partners. The good news is partners sharing the work. The bad news is partners are also equal in vertical authority, right? So I have no authority over them. They have no authority over me. So we implemented a carrot and stick method of if you don't get what you said you're going to get done, you gotta put $100 in the kitty, right? 250 if your rock doesn't get accomplished in the goal. So it's what we all agreed upon to make sure that we're getting done what we need to get done. Hey, we're money guys. What do you expect? money stick. But this is all. We meet weekly. All right, and it's all about our tasks, what we need to accomplish to make sure we can get our quarterly goal taken care of. So all of these are pulled up in our agenda. From our rock standpoint, you see our rocks, they're spelled out, and then you see the tactics to get those rocks done. Okay, so each tactic is tied to a rock. So how would I put this? If we want to make sure we have a team-based service model, what does that mean? We actually have a separate document that lists out the 200 tasks we need to lay out to do a team-based service model, who's going to be responsible for that, and how many of those we want to have accomplished and locked down by this week and this month, and to make sure that we get all 200 of those activities assigned correctly to a specific lane by our admin staff. So it's all about deadlines. Did you do it? Did you not? If not, why not? Right? And as a leader, it's just my job to remove hurdles. Okay? If something's getting in the way of someone accomplishing it, maybe they're too busy. Okay, what do we need to take off your plate? Right? Or maybe it's, we're hitting a roadblock and we just, for whatever reason, we're not coming up with the ideas. Great. Do we need to have a specific meeting to collaborate and dream up those ideas? What hurdles are getting in the way of me accomplishing that rock? Did I fall? How are we going to pick ourselves up so that we can get back on track, right? And that's really, as a leader, that's my sole job, honestly, is removing hurdles for my team members as best we can, as partners, right? And so now, again, if you're a sole proprietor, here's the unfortunate thing, right? A lot of the hurdles are probably in your own head or in your own ability to hold yourself accountable to what you said you were going to do. I have a big problem with that, to be honest. I'm famous for chasing squirrels and getting off track.
Oh, yeah.
They're all over the place. Terrible ADHD, which is why I've been paying a coach to ask me what I'm going to do and ask me if I've done it. It's so stupid that I pay for this, but I have to because I know who I am. All right, and it's someone I trust, and it's someone that I know will kick my ass if I'm not doing what I said I'll do. Okay, but if you have accountability issues, maybe it's a spouse that can be your coach, maybe it's a trusted friend and you can hold each other accountable, right? Don't worry, you don't need to do the carrot stick. You don't need to give your friend $100 if you don't do it. But I do think if you have some squirrel moments in your life and you haven't figured out how to have some outside accountability to your plan, then I would really think about who could a person like that be. If you need a coach's name, I'm happy to give you Nicole's. You'll pay for it. You can probably accomplish this, quite frankly, in this room by looking across the table and saying, this is someone I trust, and maybe we could meet once a month. And what are you doing? What are you doing? Especially if you're in a different industry, right? You're not competing.
Right.
And this isn't, you're not going to beat each other up. It's just you got to say it out loud. You got to hold yourself accountable to the plan. So now we're coming up with quarterly rocks. When the quarter rolls around, we do what's called a quarterly pulse, right? And that quarterly pulse is simply pulling up our VTO. Are we on track? Did we accomplish our rocks? Yes or no? If no, why not? What are our new rocks to keep moving toward that one-year vision? Okay? Now, at the end of the year, we're going to do another pulse. We're going to fill out a brand new VTO. We're actually, we're pretty regimented about doing this in December every single year, where we're going through the process and saying, all right, what's our new VTO going to look like? What are our new quarterly rocks for Q1? What's our new one-year vision? We need to adjust our 3-year vision a bit now, but we always maintain our old VTOs because it's kind of fun, to be honest, to look back. And when we get to 2026, to look at our 2023, how do we do? Like, are we metricing? It's just really fun to keep that in the binder and keep score on whether or not you're in the ballpark. Neither here nor there in reality, but you always ought to be updating your 3-year plan, your 10-year vision as you move every single year. We're not updating that VTO. We're not updating the VTO on a quarterly basis. We're updating our rocks on a quarterly basis. But our VTO, we're going through that big process on an annual basis to update our 1-year plan, our 3-year plan, our 10-year plan. Make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. Everything needs to have a deadline. I like to remind business owners that yes, your vision may be to make a difference in some way, shape, or form. For us, it's helping our clients envision a more impactful use of their wealth. Right? And we really want to dive deep and help them understand what's important to them. And as long as all their needs are met, Pat loves hierarchy of needs, right? As long as all their needs are met and we've accomplished our retirement planning and education planning and all that, now we get to elevate to a new plane of saying, all right, what charities are important to you? How can we start aligning your excess money in ways that are going to give you more life? Because money's just a tool. It's not a purpose. It's just a tool to do what's important to you. So, at any rate, saying all that, I am a business owner. I'm here to make money. Okay? I'm not a nonprofit. I don't do this for free. I've got to provide for my family. I have my own purposes that are important to me, giving back. For me, the school system here is really near and dear to my heart. We like to pump a lot of money and effort, time into that. among some other things, right? But I'm here to make some money. I'm here to do good things to make that money, right? But when you're working out your plans as a business owner, I would strongly encourage you to have at least one of your metrics be positive cash flow. Okay. It's really important to keep your eye on that. I think a lot of business owners kind of get into this mentality of if I build it, money will come. And if you're not keeping an eye on what's going to grow positive cash flow and making sure that you're moving in that direction, you can do a lot of really cool things, but if the numbers don't align with it, you're going to feel like you're spinning your wheels. And as business owners, I'm sure we've all been through a phase in our business lives where we've devalued ourselves and given away some of our time and effort, and it's not good for the psyche to do that. It cheapens what you do. It cheapens who you are. You are valuable, and your time is valuable, and you should be paid for what you do. Okay, especially if your heart's in it, and you know that you're doing this more passionately than anyone else could. Damn it! Have a positive cash flow goal for yourself, so you can get paid for your worth because you're all worth it. Okay, so make sure that there's some kind of a cash flow or revenue or a profit goal. If I was a more established business, we're in a big growth phase of what we're doing, right? So I'm not so concerned with costs. We're kind of like Amazon. Every dollar we make, we keep throwing back to the business and doing hires if our growth, our revenue wasn't accelerating at the pace it was, and I was maybe a more established business where big growth is behind us, we still are growing, but maybe it's more based off of population trends or whatever. I would probably have a goal that was focused on some costs as well, to start reining that in. But know what type of your business you are, and whether you're in the extreme growth phase, or maybe you're on the coast phase, or maybe you're on the wrap-up phase, and there can be some goals associated with that too. If I was near retirement, right, I'm probably putting in some goals that have more to do with balancing my life and starting to enjoy a little bit of that phase while still keeping cash flow coming in. But maybe if I'm working the numbers, I'm okay with cash flow being here, but and not growing because I've already done what I need to do. But now it's about quality of life aspects. And I wanted to bring that up. You mentioned something about, and you were a perfect preamble. It's almost as if our chamber knows what they're doing. On the personal side too, I've not done it before, but I've seen it, and I pulled it up again real quickly. But there is actually a personal vision traction organizer that EOS puts out too. It's on the webpage. It's in the free tools. Again, the only cost is probably one more spam email every month. But there's a personal one too that might be a fun activity to go through for yourself or for your family as New Year rolls around too, to kind of maintain some accountability. Wouldn't that be neat? I mean, we don't do this in our house, but you got my wheels spinning on, like, maybe we ought to try this, and my wife Becca and I ought to go through our own VTO for the year and what we want to accomplish, and on a weekly basis, just Saturday morning coffee or maybe Friday night wine, and we're going through this thing, how are we doing? Are we on track? Are we keeping our eye on the vision for our marriage and for our family? That very well will likely be something that integrates in the Maroon household.
It's easy to lose track of that.
You don't look at it every day, you're going to lose track. It's just how we are, right? What's in front of us is what gets the time. So if you don't create a time block space on your calendar to spend time on this, you're gonna lose track of it. Any questions on this aspect? Rocks, tactics. They're really, there's no stupid question here, but it's so easily outlined, isn't it? I mean, it makes complete sense to go through. The piece is just the accountability piece, I think, is where 90% of, if you're going to fail on this, it's probably going to be because you lack some mechanism of accountability to this, just because of the whirlwind of whatever your business is or your life is. We all got that whirlwind. So.
Okay, I have one question. Everybody probably knows it except me, but I'm not embarrassed to ask it. What does rock mean?
Rock. All right. So again, think about a mountain. Think about a mountain. Okay. I'm climbing a mountain, right? But I'm going to do it one rock at a time.
I see.
So it's just our language. When you read traction, it all makes sense, right? But if you're climbing a mountain, those rocks, those quarterly rocks, you know, is kind of your like 1 to 5 things that you're going to accomplish that quarter. That's going to make progress on that journey to your 10-year vision.
Makes total sense now.
Yeah. So it's just that point. Yeah. Well, it almost sounds like, you know, what's your hurdle? It's not a hurdle. It's this. I'm going to accomplish this. You know, I need to get over this rock to get to the next rock. So each quarter, I need to make this progress to be able to get the next quarter's rock, right? And it's just the continuity of reverse engineering to your 10-year vision. So, okay. I don't have much else to share, to be honest. This is so simple. These meetings, they'll give you an agenda and everything. EOS will give you an agenda. I can share all this stuff on the webpage for the video so that they can have that as well.
That's great.
That way they maybe don't have to enter their email address. Go off of my spam email account. You know, for larger organizations, there's a people organizer to make sure people have an understanding of what lanes you have, who's responsible for what rocks and tactics and all that jazz. For the sake of handing out some chocolate chocolate bars, I should have some questions prepared here for you. Let me think. Does anyone have already? Yeah.
I have a question. So at the chamber, we do a 3-year rolling strategic plan. However, how do you recommend, because you mentioned that when you do your VTO annually, you roll out your update for 3-year and 10-year. I'm assuming that's just a natural progression because you've done the 1-year VTO. But do you have any tips on how you project that 10-year change or the 3-year change?
Yeah, good question. I mean, the 10-year one is pretty lofty, right?
Yeah.
And that's a big one. And I think it's when I was getting into, like, you know, look, as long as I land in the ballpark, I'm going to be pretty happy. Mm-hmm. I think going bigger is always better because you don't have to hit it. Okay. I mean, you know, maybe I'll have to pay $250 but you don't have to hit it, okay? You just need something to aim on, and you need to have, and there's course correcting. So I think more to answer your question is when we're looking at refreshing our new VTO, we'll look at, do we need to course correct this at all? Because sometimes this lofty goal is like, all right, you know, well, maybe we got a little too dreamy, right? Like there's dreaming and then there's insanity. But then I think about what you said about Microsoft. I mean, that would have sounded crazy back when computers were costing $30 grand a pop for a nice one, right? Mm-hmm. No way. I mean, I own more than one computer per person in our house, right? It's stupid, you know, when I've got my work stuff, so they clearly accomplished it. It just took them a long time to do it. But I think, you know, for us, we might look at it and at some point say, look, you know, 50 million, like, I don't know, now that we know what's involved, maybe we don't want to get there, right? And maybe through getting the scrapes and bruises on the rocks, on the quarterly rocks, and the annual, and we really start to clarify where we're tracking, and we can start clarifying that goal a bit more, because when you're first coming up with something brand new, you know, you dream big and dream far, and, you know, like, sky's the limit. But as you're getting closer to that 3-year, you have that gift of really being able to clarify. Sometimes, though, it's also looking at, man, we could accomplish that. We know we're not putting 100% in. And sometimes it's a deep dive on, like, what's going on with us. Sometimes it's a deep dive and saying, you know what, we are giving 100%. In fact, we're giving 110, and it's not making me happy to put in the effort that we're putting in. So maybe we need to drive this down a little bit and clarify it. So that's why when it's rolling, you got to be okay with adjusting it and not holding your feet to the fire and beating yourselves up for getting so off track on that one goal that you dreamed up 2 years ago before you knew what it was going to take to start getting in motion. Like, you got to give yourself some grace.
And you review.
Yeah, and that's why you got to revisit it. It's not about always like, all right, everything has to be legalistically tied to this 10-year goal that we set 3 years ago, so now it's a 7-year goal. it doesn't have to be that way. It could be that our 10-year goal stays at 50 billion under care, which would not make it a 10-year goal anymore, right? Like we're giving ourselves maybe 15 or 20 years to get there before we start moving that number up, because we get that clarity of where we're really going when the rubber hits the road.
Yeah, awesome.
Betsy, are you a dark chocolate or a milk chocolate person?
Oh, save it for them.
All right.
I'm an all chocolate.
Years ago, I was in a course, and what they said is you take your goal, you do your goal for the week, and then every day, what are you doing every day to get a step closer? And when you break it down that way, it really, you accomplish more.
That's right.
And then your 3-year goal, what are you doing? Is there anything you can do to get a step closer that year?
I love that, and that's really it. Every day is just a simple step on a journey up the mountain. Time blocking is really important. So are you creating time and space for you to look at that specific thing, right? But I love that. I mean, you block off maybe 30 minutes or an hour where you're focusing on just that goal to make sure you can accomplish it. Milk or dark?
Oh, no.
May I add something?
Yeah.
So I read a book, I took a course a long time ago with Dan Sullivan, who was just brilliant. And he always said you should focus on your unique ability. Lots of times we focus on what we don't do well. We try to make ourselves do that better instead of focusing on what we really, really do well. And so this book is fabulous. It's called 10 times is easier than 2 times.
Okay.
And it's a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous book. I highly recommend it. Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy are the authors. It is phenomenal. You will get so much value out of
10 times is better
than 2
2 times. There it is. All right, well, there it is, folks. 10 times is better than 2 times.
It is a fabulous book.
Oh, easier than 2 times.
Easier
Sure.
than 2 times. Yes.
Awesome. All right. And Hot Off the Presses just released this year too.
I would highly recommend it.
Cool.
They did a presentation for our company in there, which is amazing.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, I'll take a look. All right, so you get to hand out a candy bar to someone else. You don't get 2. You gotta eat it. All right. Any other comments for the good of the cause here? Questions?
No, that's good.
All right.
I think
Thank you.
if I may, Michael, my biggest takeaway is I've always known that we focus on you get, right? Whatever you focus on grows. However, being a real type A, D personality, if you say you're gonna do something, you do it, just period, end of story. So my biggest takeaway for me personally, from you, and I thank you, is that just having that target, you don't have to get there because it keeps you in the right direction. Because in my world, you have that target, you do it,
Yeah.
or you failed, right? I know it's very black and white, but the layers. So just having that is a huge takeaway, and I thank you, because I know as business owners, I'm just probably singing to the choir, because you all probably have that same sort of drive and passion, and most business owners
Yeah.
have that personality style. So thank you for that.
No, and I'll say something on that. You only fail if you didn't learn a lesson along the way. I think failure is a part of life. It should be, right? I mean, the only way we've ever grown is through the mistakes we've made and the failures that we've caused, right? But we learn from that. It's not a failure, right? It's a learning moment. And
Failure's not bad.
no, it's exactly my point. I know you know that. But it's just good to say it out loud, right? Like, don't be afraid to fail, right? As long as you know you're putting your effort in, have a goal and run with it. And one thing I want to say, Jason Selk, S-E-L-K. So he's someone I followed for a long time. He's a sports psychologist, motivational speaker type person. But he really jumps into a lot of this expansion theory. He's got a lot of great stories. He brought the St. Louis Cardinals to the World Series. Come on, it was a team effort, all right? But they brought him in and helped that team really get past a lot of the barriers they had in their heads. But he's a really good person to catch a couple of YouTube videos on expansion theory and that what you focus on expands, and problem-centric thought, and how we're really wired as humans to have problem-centric thought. But you can rewire your brain by intentionally dodging that and moving towards what you want to expand, you can literally rewire the synapses in your brain to get out of that pattern that your brain, those tubes are there, and if you find yourself focusing on those problems, right, your brain is just doing what it's designed to do, unless you rewire it through intentionality, and he gets into a lot of that on how you can do that. So he's really good about motivational speaking and how to hit new targets and get outside of yourself and your old patterns. So anyways, all right. Hey, I got 3 other Silver Tree signature chocolate bars here for first come, first serve. Chocolate fan, little fun sales idea. Lou, if you talk to Lou, he can make a custom mold for your business. Maybe I don't know, like $150.
It's 200 now.
200 now, okay. But super fun way to market, and who doesn't like a little chocolate
It's
biscuit?
like, I would eat all that.
Michael, one thing I want to ask, obviously, issues list. It kind of goes with what you were just saying, rewiring your brain, not focusing on negative or what could go wrong. But how do you, like, obviously, there's outside factors like economy and world, things that all affect business. How do you not get hung up on like making a decision or moving a rock because of something that you're afraid may happen? Or is it just having that mindset of, you know what, we're gonna do it anyways? Because I think it's, like you said, we just get stuck. And that can prohibit a decision from.
It can. Hurdles. Hurdles need some time to think about how to get over them,
Yeah.
right? That's all it is. Now, if it is some kind of event like a recession for us, that'll move we can bring in our metrics and new assets, but because markets are down 10%, that 1.4 billion is not 1.4 billion anymore, right? It's less than that. So that may be a reason why we might give ourselves a little bit more grace, or maybe put an asterisk and say, as a result of the recession, our goal is X, right?
Yeah.
So it might be a reason for us to pivot our goal a bit if it's an external factor that we cannot control, or maybe we need to, maybe we can, we need to push a little harder to get other assets in to circumvent it. But I think it's just making sure that you're aware of issues that pop up, and that you talk about them and you think about contingencies if that does pop up or if that isn't meeting. How do we solve for this? So
More of an awareness.
issue, that's it. It's just to have something to talk about. Now traction may go deeper into that. I'm such a like positive mental attitude kind of guy, like great, how do we get around it all day long? And so I don't really spend quite as much time on issues as I should.
Yeah. Keep it light, right? Okay.
I just want to say, this is a brilliant idea.
It's fun. Yeah, it's a fun thing.
Because the way to my heart is to choose.
Because most of us.
Yes.
That's right. So, Whitey, thanks for letting me
Thank you.
share a little bit. I will. It's on my list. Yeah, I've got pulled up. I'll pick it up. All we want to do is do Audible. It's my secret. My secret to reading all the books I read.
Let's go on.
Thank you so much, everyone, for attending this morning. Michael, thank you for the fantastic presentation. This was perfect timing, basically done on purpose for our planning with our programs here to set you up for success during the year. Yes, so keep looking at your schedule in the new year as well for topics that pertain to moving forward with your goals during that time frame. So we will see you in January on your first Thursday, and 9 a.m. will be the success factor, and 10 a.m. is your Elevate Success. I wish you all a wonderful holiday. Thank you for attending today. You do have this room until 11. We wrapped up a little bit early with the presentation, so if you'd like to stick around for the next 15 minutes, you have some time, you can network and chat with each other. Thank you, everyone.